phone call, so this is part 2. Just found out that there's a Daisy's Guide to Deep Dean in the back of the book from Mrs. Prunston. So Div is short for divinity, and it means the religious lessons we go to with Mr. McLean. I already know the Bible though, so I don't see what the point is. So if I don't know anything, I'll check up on there later. I'll just finish this chapter. We had managed to get rid of 2 suspects in one morning, so it was a time to update my suspect list. I don't think I read that actually. He had let out his class at 5:45, which meant that he would not be able to go to the gym, murder Miss Bell, and be back in the library corridor talking to Mademoiselle and Miss Tennyson by the time we saw him there on Monday evening. Daisy and I looked at each other in amazement. We've managed to get rid of 2 suspects in one morning, and it was time to update the suspect list. So they have crossed off Miss Hopkins, Mademoiselle, and Mr. McLean. I'll read this last chapter and then I'll stop. Ruling out Mr. McLean and Mademoiselle in one fell swoop, both of them had seemed so promising, was oddly disappointing. But what happened after lunch very nearly made up for it. First thing on Wednesday afternoon is dance in the gym, and that means an hour of tortuously bobbing around in circles while Miss Hopkins watching us, her brown hair bouncing out of his clips, and says, "Straight back, girls, straight arms, straighten those legs." If we all turned into boards, she would still not be perfectly satisfied with us. She's particularly displeased with me. She pokes at my waistband and says, "Perhaps a little more dancing might help with this, Hazel. Now, for heaven's sake, stand up straight." Well, if I upset Miss Hopkins certainly upsets me. I think she's horrible, and I do wish Daisy wasn't so obsessed with her. That lesson, though, I almost had too much to think about to mind being in dance. It was the first time I had been back in the gym since it happened, and although it was tidy and ordinary, the floor polished to a shine by Jones, the handyman, I still found myself shivering and twitching with nerves. When I walked through the doorway at the beginning of the lesson, I stumbled, and Daisy had to clap me on the back and whisper, "Buck up, Hazel," to get me moving again. We began to dance. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Round in circles I moved, staring about me at the great big glassy window and balance beam, and feeling amazed that nothing in the gym had changed at all. Round and round we danced, faster and faster, and then I looked over towards the balcony and caught sight of the little dark stain on the floorboards. Jones had obviously tried to scrub it away, but it was still there underneath the polish. Suddenly I remembered how Miss Bell had looked lying there, and how her head had rolled away from me in that awfully sloppy movement. Forgetting Daisy's command to buck up, I turned my head in fascination and bumped into Beanie. Beanie squealed and grabbed at my gym tunic. I tripped against her, and we both went crashing to the floor. The fall was painful, but Miss Hopkins' response to it was extremely surprising. Instead of bawling at us, she merely came over to where we were lying. I flinched automatically and said, "Goodness, girls, how careless of you. Come on, get up now." It was a miracle, I thought. Or wait, it was this suspicious behaviour. Was this the sort of thing those detectives in Daisy's book would make a note of? I peered up at Miss Hopkins and decided there was definitely something wrong with her. She was looking at me and smiling. Still wondering what it could mean, I tried to get to my feet. Then I yelped and hurriedly sat back down again. My ankle was in agony. "Oh dear," said Miss Hopkins, still with the same bewildering, cheerfully look on her face. "You twisted it. It'll be all right in a while, but don't worry about finishing the lesson. Come on, Beanie, you're not hurt. Up you get. What is it, Daisy?" Daisy, of course, had come running over as soon as she saw me fall down. "Miss Hopkins, can I take Hazel to Sam?" she said. "Oh yes, why not?" said Miss Hopkins. Now I know that Miss Hopkins adores Daisy as much as Daisy adores her, but that sort of request from anyone ought to have made her suspicious. It didn't. What on earth had happened to Miss Hopkins? "Thank you, Daisy. All right, the rest of you, back to work." And just like that, dance carried on without us. It was nearly the most surprising thing to happen all week, apart from finding Miss Bell's dead body, of course. Okay, have a lovely weekend. Make sure you have some chill out time as well. Stay inside, wash your hands, stay safe, and I will see you on Monday.